Good evening and welcome back to the November 16th regular council meeting. For those of you at home who might have been confused about what happened, we had a booking, some confusion about where a location was for a speaking engagement for Deputy Mayor Peterson, and we quickly were able to ascertain where and when that was, and so she'll be able to be with us for a while in tonight's meeting, but then she'll have to leave for the Family Center to speak on behalf of Town Council at 7 p.m. So we're back, and I'm not quite sure exactly where we were because you and I were in a pang. Okay, Councillor Wiley finished his. Okay, so we have no further questions for Ethan on that grant we're hopefully trying to get. Thank you. Then I'm looking for a motion. Councillor Wiley?
Sure. I move that council authorize the mayor to sign the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership Grant applications as presented in Attachment 1 and Attachment 2, and that council direct administration to submit the Alberta Municipal Water and Wastewater Partnership Grant applications as presented in Attachment 1 and Attachment 2.
Thank you. And is there any further discussion on that motion? And seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? And the motion is carried. That brings us to item 8.3, Corporate Strategic Plan and Financial Plan Quarterly Report, Quarter 2 and 3, which is found on page 52 of your agenda. And Mr. Scoble, you're presenting on this?
Thank you. I'll be doing it along with Tom. I think Tom's, he's already on top of here calling up a presentation. So yes, so thank you. I'm pleased to be providing council with the first quarterly report on council's strategic plan and the town's financial plan. I think this is a new thing for the town here. So certainly we're keeping it brief tonight, but we're certainly welcome to any feedback for council's preferences for future presentations, because we do intend to do this on a quarterly basis from now on. So. Next slide, please, Tom. All right, so in early 2022, Council undertook a comprehensive strategic planning process that identified 6 strategic priorities, which are listed here. Administration utilized Council's strategic plan to then build out the corporate business plan to support these initiatives. So in reviewing this report, Council will see that there's a status update on each of the corporate business plan items, along with a progress update to provide more information on each item that has been started. Going forward, administration will provide quarterly reports to Council and the public on progress made on the initiatives. These reports will be published on the town's website so that they're available for the public to review. So with this report in front of Council, this is a good time for both Council and administration to reflect on the progress that's been achieved to date and to focus on what needs to be done moving forward to continue to action these priorities. Administration does plan to schedule a session with Council in early 2023 to review the strategic plan and the priorities to ensure that they still align with Council's goal and vision moving forward. So at this point, I'd be happy to take any questions on the strategic plan update. If there are no questions, I'll turn it over to Tom to provide the financial update next.
Thank you, Mr. Scoble. Deputy Mayor Peterson?
It's just a very, very small question, CAO Scoble, and that is related to page 5 or page 61 of the agenda package on 1.2D in developing an advocacy strategy. And I know that our consultant has recommended that we wait until what has happened. But the consideration of this, I'd be happy to work with any elected government at any given time, anywhere into the future. But is there wisdom in knowing, if we're 5 months away from an election, and quite frankly, it means that we're 3.5 months away from a campaign, mm-hmm. and if there's wisdom in exercising. I think that lots of the people will still be there, that there's wisdom in developing plans, but in terms of advocating at the political level now, would there still be wisdom in that?
Yes, there is. Pre an election, there is certainly active campaigning, but there's also active engagement with stakeholders, and it is a good time to make your needs and your wants known. So I would highly recommend continuing up until the election.
Thank you. And then my second question is regarding 1.3 in community well-being investment. I was wondering, will Mr. Maher be speaking to that as he goes through this?
I'm sorry?
1.3, community well-being investment.
Yeah, and your question was?
Will he be speaking to that as he goes through this process?
Not tonight, no.
No.
Like, that's the kind of feedback we're
Yeah.
taking. You know, if you would like, I guess, covering the items in more detail in future presentations, we can certainly do that. Like I said, this, I guess, is kind of our pilot. It's kind of the first for everybody, so we're happy to take any feedback for the
You know,
future.
there is no progress update under community well-being investment, and yet I think you've done a lot of work by bringing many groups here to talk to council, to give an awareness on a community-wide basis of what is maybe not the investment specific to that, but I think it does reflect that too. And so I do think that there's a lot to be celebrated under that, under the progress update in this quarter.
Okay.
That's all I have, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My comments are general. I am so impressed with the package that's been presented. I want to commend you and your senior leadership team and anyone involved, because in 11 years on council, this is the most clear picture of how things are going according to our strat plan, with laid out things from all of our work to show how we're progressing along in that strategic plan. So my compliments to all of you. It's the summaries also. And one of the things that's always stuck with me is, you know, I was told when I first got on council that you also want to take a look at how much your debt is at what percent you are as far as the municipal ceiling, and to see all that we've done as a town in the last several years, and we're at 42%. When I got on council, it was 66, 60, 67, something in there. So it gives a really good snapshot, but it also shows various aspects of where we're progressing, and almost like a report card. So I'm really impressed with the format and what you guys have done. Thank you. Councillor Langmaid.
Thank you very much. I'd like to echo what you said overall. I think this is absolutely fantastic. It's nice to see everything summarized all in one place and see how far we've made it, when sometimes it feels like we're crawling along and you look at this and you go, oh, no, we've come a long way. I do have one question on section 5.1.d, which is the Downtown Community Beautification Program. It mentions here that a plan has been drafted and that a budget item will be coming forward for the 23 budget to support this. So I've seen the budget line item. I was wondering if council would be able to get a sneak peek at the plan that's been drafted to see what's planned for that budget item that we had mentioned there.
Certainly, we'll take note of that and forward it after the meeting here.
Perfect, thank you very much. And then the only other comment I have is so minor, it's almost silly. The graph on page 60, those colors are very hard to tell apart. I spent 5 minutes looking at that thinking, where are all the numbers? Yes, just colors. Maybe I'm colorblind, that might be the problem.
That's fair. We'll note that for the next report.
Otherwise, wonderfully done. Thank you very much. I appreciate the efforts. It's very much appreciated.
Thank you, Councillor Langmaid. Any other comments or questions for Mr. Scoble on the strategic plan report? And we're just accepting this as information tonight?
So while we're still kind of mid-process here, so if there's no more on the
Sure,
strategic
yeah.
plan, I'll turn it over to Tom to give the
bet, thank
financial
you.
update here now. Okay,
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Tom Meyer. I'm the Manager of Financial Reporting and Budgeting. I think this is the first time that you've probably seen my face around, so hello to everybody. As we've indicated, this is a new process. Very excited to be part of it and reporting on our financial status as of kind of now, or as we move towards the end of the year. as we move through this process into 2023, we will definitely be looking at improving it, tweaking it, getting feedback from council on how to present the information better for council so they have a better understanding of our financial position, and getting feedback on how we can improve and provide the knowledge to you so you can understand the of how we're doing compared to budget. The main components of the report are to kind of provide council with a high-level overview of how we're doing, highlight any major variances in expenses, revenue, and then if things are maybe off track for the year because of an expenditure or loss of revenue or something, then council has the opportunity to work with administration and look at how can we maybe come back on track. Maybe that's cutting costs here or there to make sure that we end up the year hopefully on a positive cash flow or a positive surplus position and not being in a negative. So as I indicated in the report, this is just a snapshot at this point in time. As we move towards the end of the year, it's a bit of a moving target. But right now, we're forecasting a surplus of about $250,000. It would have been significantly higher than that, but we had the impact of the MSI grant that was to be used for debt payments. So that's lowered it, but we're still in a positive position. Hopefully we can stay on target for that as we come towards the end of the year. Hopefully we'll do an update before we present the financial statements in April. It'd be nice to give council an update before that time, just so you know that we're on track. We're pretty well on target with our expenditures and revenue for the year. As indicated in the report, we're about 98% of our revenue and we're about 97% of our expenses. So we're pretty well on target, a little bit under on both, but it kind of works out in our favor. A couple things that we've forecasted in here that we still haven't processed yet for the year is the tax revenue for the solar farm. So that'll be going out in middle of December. We're just waiting for the assessment details from the province. So once we know that, we'll be able to fine tune the revenue from that. Right now we're projecting about $150,000. And the other big item that is impacting us or will impact us is the amount that we're going to have to possibly owe for RCMP for past costs related to the past impact of member services costs with the RCMP. So that could be about a $400,000 hit, which we've reflected in the forecast, but hopefully it's less than that in the future. But it's something that we need to be aware of and just account for. On the capital side, we have a total of 80 projects for the year. We're, as an aggregate of all the projects, we're slightly under budget. We've had a number of projects. I think there's 5 in total that we've canceled for various reasons. We have a number, I think more than probably in the past, that have been delayed just because of material costs and other factors not allowing those projects maybe to move ahead this year. But hopefully we can get moving and get them completed sometime in 2023 when materials and other construction items are available and costs are maybe more appropriate or availability is more out there. Not really any significant cost overruns. There's, I think, maybe about 10 or 12 projects that have a slight overrun, but nothing significant. Most of it's minor amounts. In a couple of construction projects, there were a few overruns, but we had significant savings in a few other projects. So we used those funds to cover that. But overall, I think we're pretty in good shape for the capital expenditures for this year and pretty well on target, and hopefully any savings, and we'll just keep in reserves for future use down the road. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Any questions? Denise,
Thank
Deputy
you.
Mayor
Thank you, Worship.
Peterson.
Thank you, Worship. I just have one question, and it doesn't require an answer tonight. And that is, if you know off the top what the staffing and contracted services costs are as a percentage of total budget. And I don't need an answer tonight.
So for 2022, the percentage of actual to budget?
The percentage of staffing and contracted services as a percentage of total budget.
Oh, the total budget.
That can come
Yeah,
later.
well,
Yeah, that's no
Yeah,
problem.
I probably had that number a week or so ago, but I'd hate to give an incorrect number right now. So we'll get back to you with that
Thank you.
detail.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Just before I go to Councillor Montgomery, I have one quick question for any of you as far as this report goes. In the future, when we have these financial reports, I'm thinking ahead to 2023 when we know what the full amount would be from the solar farm. Could we get, as part of the report, could we get the all-in revenue from that, property taxes and the leasing payments, so we can see what that overall revenue is from that project each time we have a report? Would that be okay for everyone? Yes, and Deputy Mayor Peterson is going to speak at the Kiwanis event right now. Thank you very much for representing us. Councillor Montgomery.
Yeah, thank you very much. I just wanted to thank administration for their continued work to bring a lot of transparency to the town's finances and to especially the capital project side. This is fantastic. This is like it's such a big leap from the way things were done in the past, and I know that myself, and I know that there's members of the public that really appreciate this kind of information, and so I just wanted to thank administration for this, the way it's presented. It's fantastic, and so thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Montgomery. Those are very good comments for us, for them. Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much, Tom, for your presentation. Goebel, is there another portion?
Sorry. No, Your Honor, that's a conclusion.
Okay, thank you. So we're just receiving this as information, and we can move on to item 9, bylaws. We have no bylaws tonight. Item 10, councillor information and inquiries. Questions between councillors and or council statements. Anything from councillors tonight? Okay. Any boards and committee reports? We received a board report from Councillor Langmaid concerning the library, so that was much appreciated. Did you want to speak to it as well?
No, Your Worship, it wasn't included on this evening's agenda. It will be included on a future agenda.
Okay, thank
Although if
you.
anyone has a question, they're welcome to share it in tonight's meeting.
Okay, well, thank you for that email that you got us all today. That's much appreciated. No other reports, then we move on to 10.3, question and answer period. Are there any questions? 10.4, administrative inquiries. I don't think we have any tonight. And that brings us to 10.5, notices of motion. 10.5.1, notice of motion, council procedural bylaw amendment. Councillor Mitzner.
Okay, the subject is council procedure bylaw amendment, whereas council may pass bylaws in relation to the procedures of council and committee meetings, and whereas it is necessary to establish rules for conduct of business during council and committee meetings, and whereas council appoints a deputy mayor in accordance with section 152 of the Municipal Government Act, and whereas each councillor is appointed to serve a term as deputy mayor in accordance with section 3.6 of Council Procedure Bylaw number 22-10. And whereas members of council may from time to time attend a council or committee of the whole meeting through electronic communications. And whereas section 10 of Council Procedure Bylaw number 22-10 sets out the rules of the conduct for councillors attending council meetings and committee of the whole meetings through electronic communications. Notice is hereby given that the following motion will be brought forward for consideration at the December 7th, 2022 regular council meeting. The council direct administration to amend Section 10 of Council Procedure Bylaw Number 22-10 to include a clause stating that if the mayor is unable to attend the meeting in person while other members of council are attending the meeting in person, the mayor will relinquish the chair and the deputy mayor or a member of council attending the meeting in person will preside over the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to item 11, correspondence. And I don't believe we have any correspondence, so I'm looking for a motion to go in camera. Councillor Langmaid.
I'd like to move that council move in camera to discuss items related to Section 24, subsection 1A of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act at 6:32 p.m.
Thank you for that motion. All in favor? And we are going in camera at 6:33 p.m.